Hello and welcome to yet another cast. For you today I have a custom 6v6 played on the map MadSea20x20, which, big surprise, is a 20x20k map. Or 20k map. Now we do have team 1 up in the top, team 2 down the bottom, or down the south, team 1 up in the north. And let's introduce our players first. We should probably start with the with team 1 in the north, not with team 2. My immediate zoom was a bit off there. Anyway, on the southernmost slot for team 1 in white, going Cypher and opening first land, we have Empire Day. Then to the north of that, in orange, going Seraphim, also opening first land, we have Peacekeeper, I think, is what that is supposed to say. I always have a hard time interpreting numbers as letters, but, well, I think it's what that is supposed to say still. Let's see how much peace they will keep. Anyway, to the yes, that is actually east, to the east of that, in purple. Going UEF, opening first land, we have random 543. Maybe those numbers are random, maybe those are not, maybe the person is also just random, who knows. Then to the north of that, in the back slot that I suppose is air, in this lime green color, going Cyprin, opening first air, we have Tomimo Tokoso, or something like that. And to the west of that, in this regal purple, also UEF, and opening first land, and not UEF, Cyprin, opening first land, we have Han Solo. And last player for the for team 1, in burgundy red, going UEF and opening first air, already moving their commander towards a more middle position, we have Trunk Warden. Now let's start with the southern team. On their easternmost slot in dark blue, going Cyprin and opening first air, we have Nate311, or just Nate, I guess. Then to the west of that, in yellow, going Cyprin as well and also opening first air, we have Honest Mistake, or Honest Mistake, I guess. Then to the north of that, in the lime color, not lime, cyan, yes, that's cyan. God, I have a really hard time with the stuff today, I guess. We have Dark Sand, going Seraphim, opening first land. Then to the west of that, in grey, going UEF, opening first land, apparently second air, we have I Make War on You. To the south of that, in red, also going UEF and opening first air, we have Cool Hand Luke. Right, I think that was initial wrong placement of a factory or something like that right here, so we get the foundation of that. But last but not least, to the north of that, in the pink, we have, what's the name? Can't see it with that, so I have to go by scoreboard. Cheesecake Milk, right here. Ah yeah, that's the SU. I actually can't see the name here. Going UEF and opening first land. Also already starting to build navy. Now, about the map. As already pointed out at the start, 20k. We have a bunch of civilians. We get civilian titans up here in this northwestern corner, which are neutral, meaning that those can both be those can just be reclaimed by engineers or potentially even captured. Unfortunate engineer drop right here that lands in a way that one of the engineers actually gets killed off by landing on a cliff. And by the looks of it, the command that Trunk Warden is going for is a capture command. We also have the area down here that's going through that area. We do get a bunch of reclaim on here, especially here, that's quite nice to see. Already with engineers moving in here for for I Make War on You and also for Han Solo, grabbing the reclaim there. In addition to a bunch of civilian structures on this island, though mostly T1 still. Those are hostile, however, so they need to be killed before they can be reclaimed. Well, you can also reclaim them before you kill them, but that's generally very hard without your stuff just dying, so wouldn't recommend it. And yes, bunch of mechs is protected by that. Now Dark Sand moving in to support I make war on you, and on the northern team, Peacekeeper moving in to support Han Solo, who's already pushing in very aggressively right here. I make war on you did not move their commander in there, so we are currently looking at a 2v1 situation when it comes to commanders. Big difference. And Peacekeeper also has a singular submarine in the area, making it a bit harder for any for stuff from the southern team to actually get in there to support. Darth Sand gets in there, starts firing onto the ACU of Han Solo. But with Peacekeeper's ACU coming in, that will no longer work out too much. Now, let's see. How's the capture of the Titan going up here? Almost finished, and after that we have a radar started. Good to see, intel is important. AFK bomber right here, has not killed anything. Could get these before they actually capture the Titan. They really can't talk today, sorry about that. But it stays idle, and thus the Titan does end up being captured. That's gonna be annoying early game. Now Darth Sand forced to pull back due to the two ACUs. Has some of their own spam out due to factories that they start building themselves. But still it needs to be careful because we have the Seraphim frigate right here that is bombarding the shoreline a bit. And trying to take out the factories can't due to elevation of the beach. And the fact that Seraphim Navy is generally very close to the waterline. Very flat. But nice to see Darth Sand utilizing the fact that their artillery is sour, the special perk of the Sui, and moving those over the water to harass the frigate. And successfully pulling that ACU back. Now Titan finished, but it's not pushing in. Well, okay, well-placed overcharge from the ACU could take that out, but I'm pretty sure it would be able to deal with the PD. Now, by the looks of it, there's currently no overcharge ability on that ACU. So, if that ACU pushed together with the Titan, that would probably work out. Looking at that, the Titan actually took some damage, so Now, the incursion that was attempted by I Make War on You seems to be completely doomed now. Basically, all factories. Well, not all factories dead, but one just about to die, that goes. The other one, well, currently left alone without any proper support. After the developing situation. And now spam factories queued up for Han Solo in the area as well. Now, while we wait for some other stuff to go on. Yeah, there's some army forming on here, but not pushing too aggressively due to two ACUs. T2 going out for Trunk Warden, Gun going out for Cheesecake. But yeah, while that is going on, we can maybe just take a short look at ratings. We have a very fast spread. Lowest rated player is Nate at 400, followed by Honest Mistake at 500, so both of the lowest rated players on the same team. But also on the same team as Terrace rated player with I Make War on You at 1600, giving us a total rating spread of 1200 rating points. That is a lot. Although something you generally often see is that a few low-rated players are rarely properly balanced out by a much higher-rated player, even though the ratings would average out. Because rating isn't everything, and, well, two 1500s in a trench coat might still beat a singular 2k. Let's put it like that. Now, Peacekeeper actually taking a lot of fire from the Sui force of Darth Sand and actually going down to that. Now, big mistake there was that they just walked back in a straight line. The thing when you are being assaulted by or attacked by Suis, or generally any mobile artillery, is that you don't want to keep walking in a straight line because the units in subcom actually lead their shots normally, at least most do, the ones that automatically fire do. Meaning that if you actually move in straight lines, those will still hit. You need, but if you constantly weave around and dodge, you can just prevent the leading of the shots to actually work, because it's leading based on your current move direction at the moment that the shot is fired, of course. Not at the moment that you that the shot lands, which would be very hard to predict if you're currently changing that. Now, we got a drop out on the side island by Empire Day. The side area is contested by Nate, but, well, Empire Day has a good 600 rating points on their opponent in this case, so not too balanced. And thus, they will probably be able to make successful landfall here. Few engineers out for Nate trying to grab the maxes up there apparently, but early spam being built up, first matters comes out, and with that these engineers will not finish. Oh well, the engineers have already finished, but they will not finish the max. Now, Navy was actually also won right here by I Make War on You, possibly by forcing a bigger investment from their opponent on the mid-island. We actually see another set of Titans here. One currently being captured, or one engineer currently capturing one of these for Han Solo. This one also left alone, so the Southern team apparently not too interested in actually capturing the Titans. Well, never mind, Cheesecake. Cheesecake Milk is also capturing theirs. What we do, however, have right here is apparently T2 Navy out for Han Solo, so I suppose their play was not to go for early naval harassment, but instead get a quick T2 Navy out and crash the opponent at that. What I just completely missed is apparently that Cheesecake Milk got pushed by their opponent Drunk Warden. Sorry about missing that. And they... well... right, Drunk Warden also has gun, in addition to the T2 upgrade. And that currently changes that. It's considering the fact that the combat unit up there, the Titan, died, but the base did get gifted over, I suppose that this is actually played on partial share. Meaning that the base, that all economic structures and units, like engineers, do get gifted over, but any combat unit is... but combat units would still die as if it was no share. In that way, you still have the advantage of taking out players by just removing their armies, but it is not quite as crippling as no share by allowing by still having the team keep their proper economy. Now, Darth utilizing the army that now also has Yenzians, the T2 hover tanks of the Seraphim, to push up and apparently completely taking over the mid-island. Yenzians and also Suis of course will be quite useful as both are hover, meaning that those can still be utilized after that to try and pressure the northern team. So I guess that's also the reason that we did not see any FAMs being built and instead just a full build on Suis, as those do just have the ability to hover. The Titan got captured just in time, but it's taking a lot of Suis fire and the Yenzians will most likely also help overwhelming it. And if that is not sufficiently microed, then the Suis shells will quickly shred that HP pool. But the shit drops due to the Yenzin fire and there it goes. Not doing too much damage. We also do have T2 Navy out for Empire Day now, with the Cypern Navy, which does have a more long-range direct fire compared to the Seraphim Navy, and also due to actually having ballistics instead of a beam weapon, a higher firing arc, meaning that it can also arc over some cliff edges. Another shortcoming of the Seraphim Destroyer, as you can see it's very flat to the water surface. The other thing is, due to being a beam weapon, it's, well, it has a difficult time bombarding shorelines and stuff like that, because it sometimes just gets stuck on the terrain. A lot less likely if you have any kind of ballistic shells, or any kind of proper shells that have ballistic properties, like for example the shells that the Cyber Navy gets. Or on that note, any unit that does not use beam weapons, basically. I'm pretty sure that that all of those shells do technically arc. Not sure about sniper bots, but those projectiles are fast enough that they might, it's just not obvious. Now combat ensues on the southern island right here. On the southwestern island. We do have a T2 air factory actually on the island right here for Nate. And a bunch of spam to try and help out from a singular factory though, so we will have to see how well that does against the units of Empire Day, who has a few more factories. But the use of air, both from Honest Mistake and also from the out from Nate, might be able to discourage any action there. Now, naval combat ensues between the small force of destroyers built up for IMEC War on you and the combined naval forces of Empire Day and Han Solo, which will most likely go in favor of the northern team due to having just superior numbers of T2 Navy, with a cruiser and 4 destroyers if you count the ones for both sides. Another one also coming in for Han Solo now. That will generally be quite advantageous. Though there are more destroyers now massing for IMEC War on you, as you would expect, to try and counter that. But a lot more will be necessary to keep up with the navy that they are currently facing. Another big thing that would be important here is target prioritization onto the less healthy destroyer, but the other one already died, so doesn't matter too much. Could have potentially saved some damage, but oh well. But still, the focus fire onto singular targets makes that a lot more successful. Now, things slow down once again. More T2 Navy production out for Honest Mistake after they have after finishing their HQ down here. Also now building support factories right here on the front, and getting out Barracudas. Now with the parent construction, well, not really a focus on destroyers out from Empire Day. That could actually work out due to the cruisers not being able to fire against the submarines. And generally, if your opponent focuses down on submarines, you want to focus down on destroyers to counter that. But the Cyprian cruisers also somewhat effective in dealing with the Yenzins that are pushing through. Or generate the hover spam due to firing a lot, just having a higher rate of fire than the destroyer and being easier to spam, and also just having more shells in the air, making them a bit better against hover stuff. Not quite as good as the Seraphim destroyers though, that get beam up. But Yenzins apparently prioritizing down the T2 Navy HQ, and if they do get that, that would be a massive advantage, as that would completely take out the ability for Han Solo to build T2 Navy. But wait, no, never mind. They also have a Cyprian HQ up there, so that will take out Han Solo's ability to build Seraphim Navy, but not their ability to build the Cyprian one. Also now with a torpedo upgrade on the ACU, they still need to be careful because there are torpedoes on the destroyers, which will be quite effective at taking out anything submerged, as destroyers still serve as an anti-submarine unit. Meaning that Han Solo needs to be careful, though it's not quite, though the primary anti-submarine function for the UAF does come with the Cooper, with the torpedo boats. Destroyers are still no joke, and should be considered as a serious threat when going in with a torpedo ACU. But right now it still seems to be working out, and both sides are disengaging, meaning that Han Solo will most likely survive this. Honest Mistake grabs the island right here, throws up PD. Interesting call, as there is currently no land position or a land play up here made by the northern team, and thus just stuff to take out the PD would be more effective, but it's their call. The flag, however, is a good idea to just defend from any kind of airplanes that could try and do stuff there. I can see that, but the PD seems a bit unnecessary. At the same time, also now sending in some destroyers onto the land to bombard army of Empire Day up here with the super long range of the Salem class destroyers, which will make defense up there a lot more annoying. We do get the push out from Empire Day against that, but with the forces up here also in there to defend, I don't think that does work out too well. However, we do now also get a swarm of renegade gunships coming in as well, being fired upon by the AA on the side island, or on the mid island, not side island, and which that is actually taking out a bunch of the gunships, only leaving 3 of the 5, if I saw that correctly. But those currently just waiting up here, not doing anything. In the meantime, the naval or the hover program for Darvsand does continue, now sending in the Yenzians after the naval production of Empire Day, who does have a T2 torpedo launcher, though that won't be of any significance against Hover, as Hover cannot be hit by torpedoes. As it does not touch the water, it is floating over the water. There is no possibility for a torpedo to actually hit that. Well, there is if it just detonated right underneath the hover. It could probably do some damage, but let's just ignore that that could not happen, and because it's not accounted for in the game. And thus it's of course not real. Though it could potentially be a way that torpedoes could hit hover units. Maybe for reduced damage or something like that. At the same time, I think it would just undermine the purpose of the of hover at the same time. So I do completely get why you wouldn't do stuff like that. Other than probably just the difficulties in actually implementing stuff like that. Now down here, the forces for Empire Day have basically been completely wiped out, and the Salems are now closing in onto that position. At the same time, more hover reinforcements come in, but at the same time Empire Day is sending in a few destroyers and cruisers to defend. The HQ currently is still alive. The Nanite torpedo launcher also is alive just about. And we do get a bunch of submerged Seraphim destroyers coming in. And those will most likely now take out the torpedo launcher right here. Yep. And the Seraphim destroyer having the special ability to submerge, probably as a way to counteract the fact that the Seraphim do not get access to a tier 2 submarine hunter, like the, well, the other factions do get stuff like that. The UEF gets the torpedo boat or the Coopers as an alternative. And a nuke. 22 minutes, did not see that. A nuke has been built up by random. Considering the fact that we did not see much of random this game, I'm not too surprised, as yes, nuke rush generally means that you're out of the game. Until it happens. Now, how's SMD looking? I do not see any SMD for Darvsand. I don't see any SMD for I Make War on You, or for Nate, or for that note on Honest Mistake, and also not on Cool Hand Luke. So no one built SMD. We are 22 minutes, I'm not too surprised that there's no SMD, and the nuke is going after the air grid of Cool Hand Luke, who has not even moved after the nuke sound, and will get that missile land right on the head, giving us this beautiful double explosion of both the ACU and the nuclear missile. iMac1U apparently has the sound bug, so cannot hear anything, which is very unfortunate because that way they, if the nuke launchers, they could not react to that properly. Airgrid for the Southern team now also dies in that. They're unfortunate. And of course the entire T3 Air Force due to the due to partial share. Same time, let's look what's going on up here. 2 nuke launchers at the same time under construction for Tomimo Tokoso. That is a big investment. Only 2 air factories and not a major T3 Air Force, however. I expect that they will be on a heavy stall with this. Yep, storing 359 mass at just 226 income. Well, just 226 is a weird statement, but that's not a good call. Or not a good eco situation. They seem to have completely overbuilt build power with all of these hives, since each of these hives provides 50 build power. A lot. If you just take count, that's 6, and that's 8. So we're looking at 14, and that's 700 build power, that's a lot. Now down here in the south, I make war on you, making a decisive push against the forces of Han Solo. Han Solo's torpedo is still in the water, now with a stealth upgrade, though being in the being immediately under the navy of I make war on you that ACU is still of course visible. And with the presence of the Seraphim destroyers that have much better torpedoes than the UEF ones, and that is going to go down very fast, as you can see, taking a lot of torpedo fire. Only thing missing now would be Coopers, though, well, I understand why there was no major focus made on Coopers. The ACU for Han Solo down to just below 1k now, and that goes to the firepower, to the torpedoes of the Darth Sands destroyers. There are a bunch of Barracudas that were coming in just after that, but due to partial share, those will just go down any moment now. A new nuke fires. There's a lot of build power on the nuke for random. Let's look at their economy. And well, 291, but they currently can't afford it by the looks of it, so whatever. Let's see, where's that nuke flying? That is going south, I suspect, for the base of Nate, who does have an SMD, but that is not loaded. How's the economy looking? Well, they are stalling 67 mass at 164. Income not as bad as Tomimo Tokoso, but still the mass stall will prevent a SMD from actually loading because, well, if you are stalling, SMDs basically just don't load. They do very slowly, but it's almost not worth mentioning. Big force of renegade gunships out from Empire Day now taking on the Neptune-class battlecruisers of I Make War on You, which, unlike normal cruisers, don't have any adequate anti-air defenses, meaning that that is actually quite effective. While the normal cruisers are still moving into the Bay Area, up north, and, well, going to bombard the naval production there, as well as the base. However, there were quickly a few Barracudas thrown up by Trunk Warden, who inherited the base of Han Solo. And these Barracudas will at least cause some damage. But most likely not before the Naval HQ actually does go down. It is at T3, but there it goes. Trunk Warden, however, finishes experimental. It is a Atlantis, the experimental aircraft carrier and submarine of the UEF. And it is a very powerful submarine, especially with an amazing range on its torpedoes. But if you are facing off against just UEF Navy, the torpedo range isn't too important. As already pointed out, the destroyer torpedoes aren't too amazing. They're not to be ignored, but, well, there are still better torpedoes in form of the Coopers, which are still not being utilized. However, the big counter to the Atlantis is current firing with battleships. Big problem here, I don't see any battleships. Yeah, here's the first one, and there are no Coopers being built. Okay, nice to see. Nice to see counters to the submarine spam coming out. at the same time, now that is Arkham Team 1 Navy, honest mistake, capitalizing on that, moving Navy into the Bay Area up here to, I guess, deny any more naval build-up, and at the same time pushing in the destroyers onto the land, onto this land connection that there apparently is, up a very steep cliff. Would not expect the Salem to be able to walk up there, or to that even to be pathable, but those legs are very strong, and thus can just move that ship up the cliff. One of the few cases where you can actually see ships walk up cliff edges. Now, cruisers starting to move about the base that once belonged to Han Solo. There is the SND right here that will probably go down, as well as the hives here for build power. Never mind, the SND is currently not priority. Big thing here is the artillery that is built up by Tomimo Tokosi, not Tokosi, Tokoso. But, well, that's also not long for this world due to the overwhelming presence of Navy in that area. Though the bigger threat here would be the Atlantis, which does slowly take out and whittle away at the naval units for IMEC War New. Now the two nuke launchers right here finished. How big is the stall now on mass? Well, now it's no longer a mass stall, it's however a big power stall due to nukes taking a lot of power. 5,000, well, not quite, no, it's 5,000 base, but due to power adjacency for this one, it's a bit less, but yeah. Those guys do take a lot of power, and by the looks of it, the Northern Airplayer doesn't have anywhere near enough power production to deal with that. And at just 5 T3P gens, that is not too surprising. Because that's 1.25k power income with the Soviet assistance on the nuke launcher, and that's just going to get completely wiped out. Now the base, this Cyprian base right here has been basically completely wiped out now. Cruisers retarget onto the main base of Drunk Warden, who has built up a lot of TMD, but with the large amount of Seraphim, no, not Seraphim, UEF cruisers, there we have it, on the third attempt, that TMD is not going to be sufficient to actually defend, and the shit drops. And the battlecruisers are now also moving into range, meaning that those beam weapons, which are a lot harder to defend against due to being direct fire beam weapons, are going to start firing into the area as well. Another nuke comes out from random. Third nuke out of the nuke launcher. Base right here for Nate has been mostly rebuilt. They are building more hives, though I think that is a big miscalculation. Yep, they are currently stalling over 500 mass. They have nowhere near enough economy to actually sustain this build power. A big thing, if you're already stalling mass, don't build more build power. Unless you're stalling mass because you're upgrading your eco, like on a large scale. Other thing we see right here is capping maxes that are 31 or upgrading. Big thing is you can pause your maxes while they are while they are upgrading and just upgrade them one by one. The nuke that was right here apparently did get shot down, and there is an SMD right here, so I suppose that was due to that. But you had to go back to the advice right here because I think it's more important to give the lower rated players or newer players advice instead of just flaming on them for playing bad. For building up your economy, you generally want to upgrade your maxes first before you start capping them. And for upgrading maxes, upgrading all of your maxes at the same time is a bad idea because it's very it costs a lot, and they will all just take ages if you don't go through them one by one. So yeah, what you can do is you can queue up the upgrade on all of them, pause the upgrade. That way they will still produce the mass that they would usually make and not spend their resources on the upgrade. And then use engineers, or in this case I guess hives, to go around them one by one, upgrading each and every one, and after that is done, you can start capping them because upgrading a T1 max to T2 is more mass efficient than capping a T1 max, and capping a T2 max is more mass efficient than upgrading it to T3. And that's the basic thing right there. Right, the second nuke was fired, and by looks of it, that one actually landed down here. Completely missed it, sorry about that, but I wanted to give some advice on eco in the unlikely case that Nate actually sees this. If they do, well, you're welcome. If they don't, well, maybe it's gonna help some other lower rated player that watches this. Because eco is so integral for this game. Another nuke comes out from Tomino to Corso. This one seems to be either going for the mid area or possibly also for Nate again. Never mind, that angle is wrong if it was going for Nate. Maybe honest mistake, maybe Dove said. And as they just flew over the mid-island and the naval assault that is happening right here, also with Othams moving through the water, possibly about to make landfall. Yeah, okay, this seems to be going after Darth Sand, who does have SMD right here, which is loaded. And thus nuke gets shot down. Now, what I almost missed or didn't talk about, we have two flying experimentals right here, and those are two Norvaxes. Just saw another one right here, another Norvax now flying through. All built up by Random, who does have, yeah, 3 Norvaxes building a 4th. As well as going for a, as well as of course still having the nuke. So they are just going heavily into standoff technology. Big thing here is, however, while they are going for standoff technology, it's important to notice that map control wise the Southern team is still ahead. The big thing with standoff technology is it doesn't give you map control, it gives you the ability to kill off your opponent's eco and bases. But if your opponent is actually able to defend their bases, then the increased map control will most likely mean that they still have a higher eco, which in the long term allows them to just gain more map control, and as you can see right here, build large amounts of navy that can just completely crush all of the bases, or large amounts of units that can just completely annihilate bases. Like these two bases have been completely wiped out, which would leads to the fact that I suspect that the Southern team is at the eco advantage, but no, actually both teams still basically even. I guess we are just looking at a more condensed eco for the Northern team, with the Razak spam out for Random. But even then, the eco cap, so to say, for the Southern team is much higher, as since they do have all of the side expansion maxes here, for example, or the max on this plateau, or not plateau, on this island, or right here. And of course also the base right here that has died. But if you take all of that into account, then the Southern team has the ability to get up a much larger economy, while and also much more easy, because max upgrades are more mass efficient than getting res cycles, or a res upgrade in the case of Empire Day, which in the long term will most likely mean that the Southern team might out-eco the Northern one. Which is also the big reason that I don't recommend going for standoff technology while your opponent isn't doing the same, while your opponent is still going for proper stuff, and the Othams now make landfall, because, well, there are two problems with that. If you go for standoff technology, you're not spending your units onto direct fire shit that can take out your opponent, and can properly defend against what your opponent is sending at you, which leads to this kind of situation we can see right down here, where there's basically just a complete and utter collapse of the Northern team now, including this push from these Othams now into the main base, into the core base of Random, where all of the standoff stuff is built. Though there is some PD, and the thing with PD is it's a big investment, and well, there's still just the option for the Southern team to push Navy into the back right here, as they currently are doing, and just cause massive damage with that. Other than the fact that PD usually already starts struggling at the tier 3 stage. Quite a bit. Though we do see a Maglev out from Tomimo Tokoso to try and defend. That is also moving into the water, I guess to utilize its torpedoes. Or just also to fire into the navy that is currently bombarding that base. Big Ravager banks also being built up, but thing to keep in mind. Let's just check, how much does a Ravager cost? A Ravager costs 2000 mass. Each of these turrets costs 540 mass. And that's an enormous investment on economy that is currently forced out from random in that base. Like, each of these 2000, we are looking at 6 Ravagers right here. So 12,000 mass. With 12,000 mass, you can do a lot of stuff. Like, a lot of things. Honestly, 12,000 mass spent onto Navy a bit earlier might have been able to just win the naval situation down there, or at least prevent a delay and allow for some other stuff to be built. Let's make another check. How much does a Norvex sender cost? 36,000. So just to put that in perspective, 3 of these Ravager banks pay for 1 Norvex. And, well, 36,000 times 4, that's over 100,000 mass. We are looking at over half a naval with that. Or alternatively, a lot of naval and land mills that could have been built. That, considering the current situation down here, would probably have allowed for quite some stuff to prevent that. I just want to put into perspective, this game is not casted because I think Game Ender standoff is funny and all that. It's also just partially due to, in order to explain and show why just going for standoff technology and totaling up is not a way to win. Or is not in most cases. As you still need the ability to defend your stuff from an actual land push. Not nuke comes out from random right here. And that is going after the base of Nate once again. Poor guy really can't catch a break. They have not built another SMD. Not yet. They are building up more hives once again, which I will still have to criticize, but, well, I already pointed out they are lower rated. I'm not gonna just rag on lower rated players for making mistakes. Now, the other thing, the side that can actually afford to go for standoff technology right now would be a Southern team, as when you're winning on land, you can basically also just start using... No, Foden. First off, welcome to the stream. Second off, no, I will not bully the lower rated players for being lower rated. We've all been there, we've all made those kind of mistakes. It just happens. Already pointed out where the mistake lies and just how to prevent that, basically. Where was I? Right, yeah. Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, no, they... Yeah, no, the Northern team is pulling the 400, and that is very sad, yes. Nate, going for laser? I guess trying to get the tele laser down to as an act of revenge. But yes, what I wanted to say is a Southern team can afford to go for standoff, since proper standoff technology right here does also help break any kind of fire bases that stop units from breaking through by increasing the pressure, and also forcing your opponent to divert more resources into defenses, which cannot fight back. So, generally, when you are winning on map control and stuff like that, you can also afford to go for standoff technologies or even game enders. Big condition there is basically if you can't win just with your map control supremacy alone within the next few, like 20 minutes or so, it's worth it going for standoff and game enders at that point. If you're actually at the stage of the game where stuff like that becomes an option. But the heavy focus on that from the Northern team, well, we see how it pays off. We have basically no air force out from Tomino to Koso compared to the air force of, well, now of Sand. Another nuke comes out, and that seems to be going after... Well, this I don't think it's going for Nate this time. It seems to be going after Honest Mistake, who does have a loaded SMD, though their shields are, well, they are not about to collapse, they are still holding. And looking how the nuke is flying, that will probably hold out long enough for the missile to fire. Yep, it took a long turn, but it did still end up hitting. Now, Novexes do start going down due to the fire on the Navy. One has already died. Fatboy tries to move in to help bombard the Navy, but with the heavy focus on cruisers and even battle cruisers, I'm not sure how much Fatboy will be able to do. Fatboy will be able to deal with the battle cruiser, but is outranged by both battleships and normal cruisers, and those will just completely annihilate that, cause heavy damage. Now another nuke is fired, and that is going after the air grid by the looks of it. Wait, no. Yes, no, no. Wait, what? Oh, holy, yeah, 50k mass kit on the cruiser, but it's about to go down, sadly, due to the Fatboy fire. Now, where's the nuke going? It seems to be... Right, I think it's going after Honest Mistake once again. That SMD is halfway loaded. The nuke is halfway over the map, so I don't think that will load in time, meaning that that base will go down this time. Also, apparently I was mistaken on the thought that that was going to be a coming tele-snipe. Instead, Nate went for Cloak on the laser comm. So I guess intending to move up onto the opposing side of the map and just be a nuisance with the laser. And I completely missed that the nuke still ended up being shot down. I guess one of the SMDs right here was just about in range. Yeah, okay, expected as much. The megalith that was built up by Tomimo Tokoso is now moving in, utilizing the big torpedo barrages that the megalith can provide. Megalith's a surprisingly good naval unit, to be honest. Since it's very tanky, has a just throws out an incredible amount of torpedoes, and, well, at 110k base HP, it's going to hold out quite well against the against any torpedoes fired onto it, because torpedo DPS is generally lower than ground fire DPS. But Nuke goes in, takes out a bunch of the Navy here. That will buy additional time for random. Another nuke flies down south, I guess once again trying to hit yellow. This SMD not loaded anymore. This one, however, is. Will it clip through its range? Yes, it does. And missile flies a long arc, causing the this one to fire as well, because it loaded once again. Which means waste of one SMD, of one missile. And with the large new focus out from Tomimo Tokoso, that is going to be a bit of a problem. Yeah, I know. 2 SMDs firing is always annoying when it's not necessary. Not Novax finishes, it's flying in once again. Novaxes seem to have retargeted onto the base of I Make War on you, though they are sufficiently shielded to defend against that. With a lot of shielding on these SMDs. And would you look at that, they started a Nava, already 40% finished. The big game ender cannon of the UEF. And, well, that aligns perfectly with the thing I pointed out earlier, that if you are in the position of the southern team, a game ender or stand-up technology in general is a good call, because you already have the upper hand, and you can basically make sure that you're not going to collapse against that. In the meantime, there is a rather sizable force of offense that have started to push into the base of Tomino and Tokoso. But they have the megalith right here, a bunch of gunships, and a bunch of T2PD being built up that will just cause those to die for now. Until the next push crushes. Now, interesting to see up here, on the northwestern corner, Drunk Warden has started building up their own little base, after losing their core base due to the naval situation. And they even started building a Duke, a T3 artillery installation. I guess to bombard the base of not of random, of I McWarn you. Was already 61% finished with that naval. How's economy looking? Team 2 at 1.7k, 1.8k, 1.1k for Team 1. Most of that is in random, who just has large numbers of Rastakus. Big wave of strat bombers coming in for Darth Sand. I suppose to go after the nuke launchers. Or maybe try and take out the ACU for Tomino Tokoso, since that is currently not underneath a shield. Well, it moves underneath the shield generators. We have a few SAMs right here, and yes, that is going after the ACU. The T2 shield does collapse. There is a lot of SAMs in that base, so the Strat Snipe does not succeed and gets taken out. Now we also have a wave of broadswords for Darth Sand, now moving after the nuke launcher for random. And well, random has a bunch of SAMs up in their base as well as a bunch of shields, which are actually getting assisted in order to regenerate that. Big thing with shield assistance that especially newer players don't tend to be too aware of is that if you assist a shield, it will get regened a lot faster by just using the mass equivalent of rebuilding the shield generator itself to regenerate the shield HP with the build time of the adjusted to the build power as well, of course, as far as I'm aware at least, and thus spending instead of power a lot of mass on the shield generator, but actually increasing the effective regen and HP pool of the shield by a large number. Like, it's actually really, really effective. And if you are in a bad situation and need to defend against a lot of bombardment, stuff like that, it is definitely recommendable, especially if you can afford it. Now, Maver, 85% done. Let's see, what else do we have going on? Would you look at that? Another Maver, this one being built up by Darth Sand now, has been started as well. Darth Sand actually on a higher economy than iMac War on you. Almost doubling that. The Duke has finished and it is now bombarding iMac War on you, which might be the reason that the economy is not looking too hot. The Novax has managed to break through the shielding on the SMD, meaning that does go down. There is still one left here that has one missile loaded. But the Maver itself is no longer well protected. And with the current presence of 4 nuke launchers for the northern team, this one is already loaded. Never mind. Actually 5 nuke launchers, because a second one was built up by random. And of course these 3 up here that I'm pretty sure... Well, okay, this one did some damage. But yeah, those are all... 2 of those are loaded. And the last one is currently not loaded, but halfway done. So that could be a big issue for the future. Now, Random has managed to get some foothold back into the Navy and finished a bunch of Atlantises, which are successful in defending the area, forcing back the units of the southern team. I'm gonna stick by my statement from earlier that going for that instead of the big investment into standoff and Ravager banks or general PD banks would probably have been the better investment, but well, they did end up going for that now, so whatever. Big push right here coming through the side from Dalfsand. Maglev out for Tomimo Tokoso. Firing into that and probably going to take that out with those shield generators not holding out too long. And with that, that push will probably not succeed. Now Mavel, 89% done, about to finish. Basically just the only thing still needed to do is just cutting the ribbon basically. And go on, there it finishes. Adjusting its targeting now. Currently not pre-targeted. Maver down here, 63% finished and going up fast for Dalfsand. And the engineers immediately retasked with supporting SMD and supporting shields to keep the Maver alive against the fire of all of these Norvexes. And you can see all of the shields just regening this fast due to all of the willpower invested into this. Maver about to adjust its aim, I think. There it goes, and it starts firing. The big phallic weapon of the UEF. Possibly compensating for something, but I'm not gonna judge on that. Anyway, it seems to be going after the base of Tomimo Tokoso. And 2 nukes fired. Are those... Okay, both of those are going after the Mavel. We have 1 missile loaded here. Currently not no one loaded here. A nuke, no, 2 nukes coming out up north here. Another one coming out. Those will definitely break through. I mean, anything after this is basically just overkill now. And there are 2 more missiles coming in. So wait, 2, 3, so 5, 7 nukes. Flying into this target, where we have 1 SMD loaded. Meaning that we will have 6 nukes actually landing. Maver actually got a bunch of stuff killed. Looking at that. If I saw that correctly, that looked like something like 70k mass killed already. So doing its job. I don't see anything that up here, so maybe it targeted something else. Right, it seems to have targeted the base of Random. I was mistaken on where it targeted. And by the looks of it, took out 2 Norvexes. But nukes all land, and well, let's just say there isn't an atom left on this area. No reclaim at all, and there is still 1 nuke pre-targeted onto that. Ah, right, a nuke launcher that has not been finished up here for Tomimo Tokoso, which would be their 4th one. I still have to criticize their interest in just going for nuke launchers instead of actual units, though they started mass building a bunch of Barracudas to help out the Navy. And we now see a bunch of T3 units from Honest Mistake pushing into the base of Random. There are also trebuchets in there. Those have been microed since trebuchets are, as a T3 mobile artillery unit, they're required to stand still in order to deploy, and well, they have a large range, so you just want to keep them basically at maximum range. I suggest just putting them on attack move into the position of your opponent. That way they will just move up. As soon as they have something in range, they will stand still, deploy, and start firing. And as soon as there's nothing in range anymore, they will pack back up and move back up until there's something in range again. It's very easy on the micro and it's still very effective. Now the Maver for Dalfsand has finished building as well, and is now firing. The nukes of the Northern team have been mostly used up now. Well, those 2 are about to load again. How's their economy looking? Not too great. They are stalling about 100% of their mass income. Like, spending double their income right now. Which means that those nukes will take ages to load. Saying that, one of them is still about to load. But the Maver Shell has just dropped the shields. And next one that will land will most likely take out... Well, never mind, it won't take out anything because firing randomness just prevented that from landing in the base. But this one actually did land in the base, taking out 3 nuke launchers and 2 maxes, as well as a P-gen. And the adjacent mass fabs. With the reclaim being killed off by the next one. Those two did actually load now, but we have a bunch of SMD right here. None of which is loaded right now, but there are still the SMDs up here, which I currently count 3, 2 of which are loaded, so they can hold off against the volley that can still be fired from this. Tomimo Tokoso going for cloaking on the ACU. I would expect them to go for a telesnipe at this point because, well, they are no longer, they are just losing ground now. Though saying that after the nuke landed on the Maver for, I make warn you, a small, not small, large line push actually, has been started by Trunk Warden down there with a bunch of Percivals coming down from the north. Also now sending in a bunch of Navy, capitalizing on the fact that there is currently no Navy at home basically. And thus causing a bunch of damage into the main base of the grey player for the southern team. I make warn you. And by the looks of it, successfully pushing through their position. However, Navy has relocated now to take out the base that was now built up on the northeastern, not northeastern, or northwestern edge, or corner. With battleships bombarding that now. But there needs to be something to take out the land situation. Large wave of strike bombers, like really large wave, goes in, takes out the ACU of random. After flying over, after which they fly over a bunch of SAMs, meaning that they don't get another shot off or another drop. But they did get an ACU, meaning that these defense satellites will reset. The Atlantis will go down. And, well, that's it. I think that was all the combat units. Random complaining about a noob team. I'd say that the early investment into the nukes was also not the smartest move. Especially not going into any normal units afterwards, but, well, their call. I would argue that that also somewhat led to the developing situation. Maybe not the sole reason, but definitely a factor. Southern team making fun of the northern team for just wasting so many nukes on the Maver. Yeah. Another big wave of strike bombers now building up for Dark Sand. The land army up here is starting to build up, but I would think that maybe those strike bombers are just going to be used in defense, or, well, never mind. We have a bunch of tele defense right here in the form of a Ravager battery. Also quite a hefty investment at 16 Ravagers, so 32,000 mass. But at the same time, Dark Sand also built a Maver and has done has also invested their units into basically everything else on the map, so in this situation I think it's a bit more excusable because, well, they actually built units, let's put it like that. But these Ravagers actually taking out the land push of Titans and Percivals before that can do too much damage. Artillery now retargeting onto the Duke up there, and yep, a second one finished. It looked like there were two artilleries firing, and I was completely correct in that assumption. The Ambassador Strat Bombers for Darth Sand now going after the first one by the looks of it. And it also looks like we have a Disruptor firing. Yes, we have Disruptor right here for Honest Mistake. That's also firing into the area. But Big Stratwave takes out the Duke for Trunk Warden, or well, one of the Dukes. And with that leaves this one singular Duke that's also already being fired upon by the Disruptor Artillery. And the what are they called? The Strat Bombers get off a second pass, causing a lot of damage to the Duke. And well, they seem to also be getting a third pass, so that Duke will also end up going down. Meantime, up in the north, this time the Trebuchet is actually staying at range somewhat. Though Saku is moving up, however, trying to throw up some Ravagers. Just kind of counter BD creep. But those now just do get distracted by a bunch of Loyalists pushing in. Would be nice to see some pricks due to the high people on those, but still works. And we now do get some battleships out from Termimo to Koso in order to counter artillery fire onto the main island, or to the island to help defend. After losing their new program, I mean, at least they are now also starting to build some support units, or some combat units. Though, would be nice to see a bigger investment on rebuilding the aircraft or something like that, or actually building up an aircraft in the first place to try and get some sort of air presence, because looking at air right now, it seems like Darth Sand actually spent a lot of their air on the just losing it to AA, I guess. Or, yeah, anyway, they basically lost the, most of their air units. Instead just building, or most of the SF, instead just building mass Strat Bombers. Which, however, does not matter because they still have basically complete air control. Let's see. Bunch of Corsairs now coming in for Honest Mistake, causing some damage as well, though at this stage Corsairs won't do too much. It's just Corsairs. The big cloud of Barracudas, however, was apparently able to just completely kill off the naval production for the Southern team, leading to an actual naval superiority position for the Northern team right now, being able to use their the small force of cruisers and Neptunes, I guess, built up by Trunk Warden to help take out the or to bombard the stuff of the Southern team now. Somewhat changing the situation around now. But I think that this investment into Navy was just made a bit too late. So I would argue that it is no longer quite as game-changing as it could have been earlier. Darth Sand with the ACU in that water right there, immediately pulling the ACU out. Has the advanced nano upgrade on the ACU, meaning that it will also just take ages to die already, as is. And now have a bunch of Whalers and moving in, potentially a bunch of Strat Bombers about to make a move, since they are currently being microed. Going after another snipe, or maybe going after the maybe right here. Not too sure. Not sure what the play here will be. But nothing much left for the Northern team. And well, even Max is now being claimed by Darth Sand on, well, not only Darth Sand, but also Honest Mistake on the northern part of the map. With Honest Mistake now also building up Monkey Lords. Maybe right here pulls back, or these, at least these Barracudas do. And the whalers, they did not seem to be firing for a moment for some reason, but opening up onto the Neptunes, and those just get completely annihilated by that. Because that's a large group of whalers. More whalers coming in to take out the Valiant class destroyers, and now also just reusing the aggregate for Dove's or Dove's reusing the aggregate to mass produce top bombers to take out any naval stuff. Which once again is possible due to a lack in air investment out from Tomimo to Koso, who interestingly enough has built up a large group of strat bombers, maybe trying to go for a desperate last strat attempt to win the game. We will see how successful that is. Those are separate strats, meaning that they do have stealth. But they're, well, they are going to fly over here, so probably gonna make the approach from the north. Problem with that is that there are engineers up here that will scout that. There's a chicken fighting somewhere. Where's the chicken? T3 Rambo Zacus. Wait, no, not Rambo Zacus, Cloak Zacus with a singular gun upgrade. I think that is part of the template out from Nate, now walking through the water and starting to make landfall onto the stuff of the northern team. Annoying part about the Cloak Zacus is that if you don't have Omni, you can't see them. And especially if you also upgrade the EMP cannon on them, they can be a really, really big nuisance, as long as your opponent does not have Omni. And the Maclords now also pushing in for Honest Mistake. It's not too sure where I heard the chicken, but... Ah, right, it's right here, I guess defending. Now, two Maglyphs now approaching from Tomimo to Koso that did march through the water, and those will potentially cause an issue. I was going to say those will potentially cause an issue, but no they won't. Because we're to look at that strat wave. And the HP on the Maglyph just getting, just completely vanishing. That Maglyph going honest and fast died, I guess. And, well, there it goes. After the second pass, just losing all of its remaining HP. This, the second Maglyph did make its way back into the water for a moment, but decides the better of it and goes back onto land. Probably a big misplay right there, as it could have survived that if it stayed in the water. Now, wave of counter-strats out from Tomimo to Koso, with a bunch of ASF trying to come into cover. There is a bunch of SAM launchers right here for Darth Sand, though they no longer have a sizable ASF force to defend against that. The SAMs seem to be sufficient, and there's also a lot of shielding over the Maver, meaning that I would expect that to still survive, and yeah. Not even one of the shields actually dropped from the attempted snipe. Teleporter started by Trunk Warden, I guess to get out of there safely. But, well, gunships coming in, they can't do much due to that stuff being submerged. However, big wave of drop bombers coming in. And first dropping the stuff onto Trunk Warden, I guess that makes sense since they are currently going for the teleporter. And that is technically the biggest threat. Big wave just taking that out. And after that, the top bombers retargeting onto Tomimo to Koso, who has been noticed due to the Novax overhead that have Omni, but goes for a recall. Right, with that, I hope you enjoyed this game. This was streamed live on Twitch, link to that will be, as per always, down in the description. If you did enjoy it, leave a like, or don't, can't force you, and if you want to be notified when more videos like these do eventually come out, you can always subscribe, it's completely free. And yeah, with that, I hope you enjoyed, hope to see you again in a future cast, and till then, bye!